Thanks for joining me, you guys. I'm so happy you're here. My name is Chalene Johnson. I'm the author of New York Times bestselling book Push, the creator of the Smart Success Academy, Marketing Impact Academy, and I just like to help people figure stuff out. I like to help people live a life that seems like crazy, cool, ridiculous at some point, but now you're like, dude, I'm like living this life. This is crazy cool. That's my goal. I want to help you live that life. And this is specifically for people who need to get focused, right? Like maybe having a difficult time because you feel like you're doing a lot of work, but yet it's crazy how at the end of the day, you're like, I really didn't get much done. So let me give you the beautiful golden gift right in the very beginning, and that is and I'm going to talk about this too, but I want to make sure you have the tools, and this is for free. This is the stuff that my Smart Success students say like, OMG, game changer. So I'm going to give it to you. You go to youcanfocus.com. Now, what you're going to get is for free. You just give me your email address. I promise I won't spam you. I promise you can unsubscribe if you want after you receive my gift. But I promise you this, money back guarantee. You will have the craziest, most productive week, month, 90 days of your life if you actually listen to these audio programs where I share all of my top tools, how to get refocused. And this is really cool. I've never done this before, but because people are like, does it really relate to business? But I think it does, because like your whole life is intertwined with your business too, right? Like part of the reason why we can't focus is because our personal and business is all intertwined. So I'm also going to give you my grocery list. Listen, you don't have to eat the stuff that I eat, and it's not even why I'm sharing it with you. But the reason why I share with you my grocery list is because I want you to create one, even if you don't eat the same stuff our family eats. And don't judge, I have teenagers galore. But it's one of those things that you do all the time. And you feel like your life is in order when, couple things, when your closet is organized, when you can find the things you're looking for, and when your family is taken care of, right? Like even though it bugs us when our kids are like, there's nothing to eat, it also raises your stress level because you're like, yeah, I now have to go grocery shopping. I don't know what we need, etc. So the grocery list is really cool because you can just look at it, you can see how I've organized it, and then you can create your own, you can modify it, whatever you want to do. But today I want to talk to you about hitting the reset button on your time management, and we'll do a follow-up on this as well. So thank you for everyone who's jumping on. I tend to give you a little bit of interaction in the beginning. I'm going to come back and talk to you guys in a moment, but I also want to deliver the content, right? So let me get to it. The first thing is, when you realize you've let a couple of really bad eating habits and health habits creep in, like maybe you woke up and you're like, I feel like I'm a few pounds heavier than I usually am, or gosh, that's weird. I went 6 months without eating chips or anything fried, and then I started having a little bit each week, and now it seems like I'm eating foods I shouldn't be eating more often than not. And I'm skipping my workouts. Or maybe you've just come back from vacation, or maybe you need to go on vacation. You just realize like, okay, I've let things slide. And rather than doing like a gradual reset, you actually decide, okay, today's the day. I got to get back on track. So what I want to talk to you about today is putting your time management and your focus back on track. And let me tell you, it's something very, very important to do for all of you, whether you are just parents or entrepreneurs, or you would like to start your own business, or you're trying to get out of debt, or you have big dreams and you want to do these things. You've got to get focused. And in order to do that, sometimes you just have to say, enough, okay. I realize now it's time for me to hit the reset button and get very serious about this. It's just like when you wake up and you get on the scale and you're like, what? Or you're trying a pair of jeans and you're like, that's weird. Did they maybe get over dried? They weren't this tight the last time I tried them on. And you make a decision to reset. So I'm going to pull up my notes because I want to quickly give you the meat of the matter. But today, that's what we're talking about, is hitting the reset button. So the first thing you have to do is realize that it's time, and that you have let things slip and you need to get serious. So the first thing you want to do is identify why you need to get serious. Are your dreams big? Do they pull at your heartstrings? Do you wish for more? Do you want your life to be less stressful? And do you want to actually get things done even though it feels like you're working 24/7 right now? Well, then there's your why. You want to. Why? Because it's important to you. And then you have to take an honest look in the mirror and recognize that things have gotten a little out of control. And this happens. You know, sometimes it happens to the best of us. Sometimes it happens gradually. Sometimes we realize that it's happening, but we just kind of ignore it, right? Like we can justify it. Like you can say to yourself, oh, well, I mean, yeah, I've been a little distracted lately, or I haven't been as focused as I needed to lately, but it's because of this, this, or this. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's really important to just recognize our shortcomings, to understand how important this is to our family, to our future, and to our big dreams, and then understand what we need to do next. So here's my first step of helping you get more focused, have better time management, and that's just to download these tools. So again, you can get them by going to youcanfocus.com, okay? Listen to them in the order that you'll receive them. They're MP3 files. It's just an audio. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to listen to these. Here are your options. Okay, write this down. I want you to listen to these while you're getting ready, taking a shower, or you can't wear headphones in the shower, but you just play your music. You know what I'm saying? Or while you're driving in your car with nobody else in your car, or if you are on a bike or running or working out, but it's just something mindless, right? Like, so I don't know if lifting weights is the right way to do it, because I don't know, I have to think and keep track of what number or set I'm on, but something where no one else needs you and where you can truly, thank you for the hearts, focus on this, okay? So if you're driving, maybe, but I think it's best if you can really, truly be focused, because what I'm going to share with you, it's like coaching. It's like it's very important information that's going to help you identify some new habits, because you guys, because of technology, our brains are in a constant state of fracture. We have never had to deal with as much coming at us at once than we do today. And every single day there are more demands on our attention. So it's not just you. Our parents did not have to deal with this. We didn't have to deal with this like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It's different. So we have to set up safeguards. We have to quit expecting that we can handle all of these distractions, demands on our time, and I will actually explain in those audio programs what's happened to our brain in terms of the development from, early man to today, and why it is our phones and notifications and messages, why that stimulates a response in us that is similar to having our ancestors hear a lion roar in the jungle, and it stimulates this feeling of urgency. Urgently respond, or I'm going to lose my business. Urgently reply to this text message to somebody who I really don't even care about, right? Like, we have that going on 24/7, and it's not just a demand on our time, it's fracturing our brains. We are less intelligent. That's it's just not a statement, that's a matter of fact. Because of all of the demands on our attention, because we're trying to multitask, because we're trying to do too many things at once. So what do? Do we crawl under a rock? Do we disconnect our phones? Do we unplug from society? No, but I'm going to share with you in those audio programs which you receive when you go to You Can Focus. I share with you specifically how I do it, how I think others should do it. I'm going to share with you my tips and my tricks and what we do know about the brain and the best way to be productive, and what we know about the myth of multitasking, and how this is so incredibly important if you want to save your brain, save your business, and become that much more effective with your time management. Okay, so not only am I going to give you that in those audio programs, I'm also going to help you identify systems and how you can create mini systems for all of the things that are kind of time consuming that you do on a regular basis, which is going to blow your mind, because you're like, oh yeah, I didn't even realize that could be a system. For example, my grocery shopping and our grocery list. And that's why, I tend to train entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs eat and they go grocery shopping. So it relates, right? Like, that's one more thing you have to think about. So I share with you a really simple, basic system of how to simplify grocery shopping, how to simplify packing, how to simplify setting up for your next Periscope. So all of these things are ways that will help you to be more focused, and that's included in the audio programs. I also help you identify what your power hour is. Your power hour is so flippin' cool, but don't skip ahead to that one, okay? Promise me, do you promise? Do you pinky promise? Don't skip ahead to the power hour, because everyone has this hour. Some of you it's 11 o'clock at night. Some of you it's 11 o'clock during the day. Some of you it's 7 a.m. But your power hour is the hour in which most people can get done in 45 minutes to an hour what otherwise it would take you 3 to 4 hours to get done. Especially if you put in place some of the tips and tricks that I'm going to share with you in those audio programs on how to create a fortress around your focus. And it will, I promise you, it's going to make you feel so much more peaceful and so much more productive. You're going to have so much clarity on how to do this, because the misconception is that we're supposed to be trying to do everything and multitask and take on new forms of social media. Am I supposed to be on Blab? Am I supposed to be on Facebook? Am I supposed to be on Periscope? And should I now should I be tweeting? And what about a blog? Should I be writing a blog? Should I be on YouTube? How should I be? Like, there's all these things, and we're just like overwhelmed. And then we're like, okay, and now that I'm learning all of these things, what if I stop and take a day off to implement some of these things? And then I might miss something that I should be learning. And then, like, if I'm not learning, then I'll fall behind. But if I don't implement these things, then I'm going to fall behind. Like, it's super confusing, right? It's like, OMG, how do I keep up? Well, there is a system to this, and I'm going to share that with you. And so that's why I love to share those tools with you. Aside from that, I want to share with you a couple of quick tips, just in case you don't have the, I don't know, you don't want to give me your email address and you don't want to listen to audio programs, then I at least want you to take something away from this Periscope, because it is my goal to always serve. So one thing I want to recommend that you do is have a strict schedule, a very strict schedule. And it must be in writing, and it also should be on your phone. A strict schedule keeps you on track, it keeps everybody else on track, and it works. Why do you think middle schoolers, high schools, elementary school students are all on a strict schedule with alarms that sound? Well, a couple of things. Number one, our brains don't like to focus on one thing for more than about really 25 minutes max. But we tend to push it, and what I do is I set the alarms on my phone to go off every, say, hour or so. Not all day, only in the chunk of time that I work, that includes my power hour. So I tend to work about 3 to 4 hours a day, and I have alarms that go off so that I know when I'm at a 45-minute mark, because then I've got to, you'll hear all of this. It's all detailed in my audio programs, but for those of you who don't download that, I want you to know this, that you've got to use alarms, because we as creative types, man, we get lost, don't we? Especially when we're doing something that we love. Like, couldn't you just watch like 10 hours of Periscope? I know I could. But if I don't set an alarm, then I get lost in it because I'm loving it. And I also will tend to work too long. And what we know is that the brain, it can go and go and go. You can sit down and write a book for like 4 hours, but it won't be your best work. And that's why when writers get up after a 4 hour or 2 hour block of work, they come back and they think they've written their best stuff, and then they reread it and they're like, oh my gosh, and they have to like rewrite it and proof it, and it just doesn't sound as great as they thought. So if you get up every 45 minutes, you refresh the brain, especially if you can walk outside and step away from work. So you've got to do that. You've got to use alarms, and then you have to narrow down what you think you have to do to 3 things and no more, typically, than that per day. Like, I have a list. Let me see my list. So here's my list. So the way, I start with a very carefully crafted to-do list each day. And I write it down. And then I transfer it to an app on my, first I take a picture of it, just in case I don't have time to transfer it. I take a picture of it, screenshot it with my phone, put that tip in there. And then I transfer it to my, my favorite app, which happens to be Awesome Note. I don't care which one you use. I use Awesome Note. And so I start with like a list of kind of like everything that must get done, that I think really should get done today. And then you can see I narrow it down to just the 3 things that, you know, like, seriously, I'd like to do, I feel like I need to do all these things, but there's only 3 on here I legit have to do. Okay, so I'm going to read you this list. I've got to get Sierra off to camp. Screenshot of the list. Oh boy. Yeah, screenshot of your list. I'm like, you don't need my list. I want to work out. I want to record a Periscope, and I'd like to do a Periscope/podcast. I hope to do that this evening. I need to take a shower and do my hair. I need to unpack from Hawaii. I need to help Sierra get packed for her trip. I need to allow 30 minutes to travel to a seminar that I'm going to be doing an appearance at later this afternoon. and that is with James Wedmore, who you probably know as the YouTube guru, and that's in Laguna Beach, so I want to allow like 30 minutes for travel time. I need to spend about an hour filling out school paperwork. 2 kids go to the same school and filling out the same dang thing on both sets of paperwork. When will we catch up with technology and just click same? Like, really? Anyways, I digress. I also need to record a testimonial for my friend Natalie Jill about her speaking abilities, because I promised to do that for her a couple days ago, and then I got sick. And then there's a couple of other videos that I need to do, like shout out videos to people that I promised. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff. Now I have to identify what 3 things must be done. Well, I have to take Sierra to camp, and I have to help her pack. And I've committed to doing James Wedmore's seminar. That's my 3. Will I feel like a bad friend if I don't do Natalie's video? Yes, but family first. Will it bug me if my suitcase isn't unpacked today? Yes, but it won't kill me. So I just have to narrow it down, because if we try to set 18 things per day that we're going to do, we'll never feel satisfied, because I won't get through all of these. I just won't. So I just have to identify the 3 that I know I must and make that my goal. And the rest of them are just there. If I can get to them, great. But I have to make choices. And those are my 3 choices. So I highlight them first, and then I reverse engineer my day based around those. So I'll just show you on a little piece of paper. This is legit what I did today. So I know, okay, so the 2 things I have to do, really, it's like this. It's like, okay, I got to get Sierra to camp at 9, and I've got to be with James at 2. Like, that's it. So then I have to reverse engineer between here and before here, and maybe in the afternoon, right? And so that's what I do, is I then like kind of, this is how I do it. I go backwards in blocks of hours, and I'm like, okay, so let's see, that travel time is going to be from 1:30 to 2, and then I could fit something in from 12:30 to 1:30, then from 11:30 to 12:30. I could do a Periscope, and I didn't get here quite on time, what time I wanted to, because I had some other unexpected things. And that's the other thing I have to explain, is that unexpected happens every single day. So if you are scheduling your day with no buffers between activities, then you will be sadly disappointed, stressed out, and feel like you failed. So I knew I wanted to do about a 25-minute scope, but I allowed an hour for it, because I needed buffer. As I did, I got a couple of emails from my office staff, hi staff, and needed to respond to those, because they wanted to send out an email to our list to help people with exactly this. So in fact, so the tools that I'm sharing with you today, I'm sharing with my email list today. So there just things come up, and if you don't have buffer, if you don't have space, if you're scheduling as Will says, back to back to back, you will feel stressed. You won't have a sense to process what's just happened and what's coming up next. I mean, it's one reason why I could never exist in corporate America, because they go from meeting to meeting to meeting. And I always say to my friends who work in corporate America, I'm like, so when do you have time to work? Aren't you like always in meetings or recapping meetings? And they're like, yeah, there's no time to work except when we get home. I'm like, oh my God, shoot me. So those are some of my best tips. But the most important thing that you have to recognize right now, okay, because I'm going to end this, because I've got an alarm set and I've got 2 minutes left, is that you have an Achilles heel right now. I know what mine is. What's yours? That is taking you off focus, that you're spending, maybe a couple extra hours on per week that you really don't need to. Thanks for that 2-minute warning, Britt. What's your Achilles heel? So know what your Achilles heel is, because it's that thing that you do when you're trying to avoid doing what you know you really must do. Maybe it's online shopping. Maybe it's watching Periscopes. Maybe it's checking and rechecking and checking and rechecking and checking and rechecking all of your social media accounts. Whatever it is, you know what it is, write it down. Don't let it bounce in your head right now, bounce right off. Write it down. In fact, why don't you put it in the comments? What is your Achilles heel? The thing that you do to kind of distract you from what you really need to do. But it's that thing it's like you kind of know you need to do something. You're like, but maybe first I'll check Facebook. Or you're like, oh man, I really need to get this done, or I need to make this phone call. But you're like, but maybe first I'll see what's happening on Periscope, right? So identify it and write it down, put it down on a piece of paper, and now tell your security officer. You know who that is. It's somebody who knows you, who's around you, who can help keep you on track. And this is going to suck because I know you want to continue doing that. I know you want to keep spending all that extra time. But you've got to have somebody who's going to help police you, help keep you accountable. And you can tell them, okay, here's how many minutes or hours or, length of time or amount that I want to spend doing this particular thing. And if you see me doing more than that, permission to pinch my head off. Right? The last thing I want to leave you with is that sometimes, almost always, in order to speed up, you need to slow down. And in order to slow down, you have to figure out what's wrong and create a plan. Why am I feeling so distracted? How do I learn to get my focus and time management skills back on track? And that's what I'm going to invite you to do, is to download these audio programs and my PDF. And you get that by going to You Can Focus. Let me say this. You don't have to get through all of those today, but you can binge listen. But I really am asking you not to do something else while you're listening to those, because they're dreadfully important. They're critically important. Our brains are on overload, and we can't continue at this pace, and we shouldn't continue at this pace. So please take a moment to download those, and then, if nothing else, slow down each morning to figure out how you're going to reverse engineer your day. Set a schedule. Turn your alarms on your phone. Stay accountable to yourself. Let people know what your schedule is. Stick to it. Be okay with letting certain people down, even though it's something, there's like 10 things on my list I'd like to do for other people today that might make them upset, but I know the 3 I must do. Thank you so much for being here. Love you guys. Bye.